You ever notice how modern luxury cars feel packed with tech, but somehow soulless? Today, we're going back to 5 legendary machines that didn't just define luxury, they outshine many modern rivals in comfort, craftsmanship, and pure emotional pull. And if you've ever wondered whether an older high-end car is still worth owning today, this list might change the way you look at luxury forever. The Mercedes S-Class W221 is the kind of luxury sedan that instantly reminds you why this model dominated the executive world for decades. You sit down, close the door, and that deep, confident sound tells you everything about how seriously Mercedes took craftsmanship during this era. It is a car built for someone who wants real flagship comfort but refuses to deal with the digital chaos and sky-high prices of modern luxury sedans. Under the hood, you'll find engines like the S350's V6 or the S550's V8, both paired with a smooth 7-speed automatic that never hurries, never stumbles, and never reminds you it's working. Fuel economy usually sits in the mid-teens or low 20s, but efficiency has never been the soul of an S-Class. Comfort is, and comfort is exactly what the W221 delivers with an almost arrogant level of confidence. Cabin insulation is so thick that highway noise barely registers. The seats are wide, supportive, and perfect for long drives where you want silence, warmth, and a sense of calm. The airmatic suspension glides over terrible asphalt like it doesn't exist, giving you that classic floating without disconnecting Mercedes feel. Still, no old flagship comes without caution. Airmatic struts are expensive when they age, compressors get needy, and electrical systems from this period sometimes behave like they're auditioning for a sitcom. Inspection tip: leave the car parked overnight and check for any corner sitting lower than the rest. If it does, you're looking at a tired strut or a leaking valve block. Also run a full diagnostic scan, because this generation loves hiding warnings until the very last moment. The safest picks are late production models with consistent service history. Prices today are surprisingly friendly, often under what people pay for brand new compact cars, and the value per comfort ratio is almost absurd. And if you think the S-Class sets the tone for true luxury, wait until you see the next machine, a classic that mixes elegance with a sharper, almost cinematic attitude. The BMW E38 is the kind of luxury sedan that doesn't just age well, it becomes cooler. You look at it and immediately feel that 90s confidence. The sharp lines, the low stance, the quiet arrogance of a car designed before committees and focus groups ruined everything. This is the perfect ride for the driver who still wants to feel connected, who enjoys steering feel, who appreciates mechanical honesty wrapped in a tailored suit. Engine options range from silky inline 6s to charismatic V8s, each paired with an automatic transmission that was tuned for smoothness rather than lap times. Fuel economy sits in the mid-teens, maybe a bit more on calm highway runs, but efficiency is not what keeps people obsessed with this car. What hooks you is the personality. The E38 doesn't float like a limousine and doesn't behave like a sports sedan. It hits a rare middle ground that feels intentional. The front end is heavy in a satisfying way, the steering has weight, and the whole chassis feels like it was engineered by people who actually enjoyed driving. Inside, you get that minimalist BMW layout. Clean, simple, beautifully restrained. No clutter, no needless screens, just design that holds up because it was good from the start. But of course, this era of German engineering comes with responsibilities. Cooling components are notorious for aging fast. Radiators crack, expansion tanks split, and water pumps give up without warning. Electrical quirks show up randomly. Window regulators love retirement, and front-end bushings usually need refreshment. Inspection tip: check for coolant smell near the front grille, test every door, and pay attention to any vibration around highway speed. The safest examples are late production units, with preventative cooling system replacements and consistent service records. Prices are rising as enthusiasts hoard good examples, but you can still find gems if you're patient and fast. Quick break? Enjoying? So, grab your phone, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. And if you think the BMW balances charm and confidence perfectly, wait until the next one, a luxury fortress built to outlive its owners with absurd reliability. The Lexus LS460 is the luxury sedan you buy when you're done playing games. No mood swings, no mystery warnings, no mechanical drama waiting to ruin a weekend. It's the ideal choice for the driver who values peace above everything else, who wants the full flagship experience without the emotional roller coaster that comes with many European rivals. Under the hood sits a 5.0 V8 that's ridiculously smooth, almost electric in the way it delivers power, paired with an 8-speed automatic that shifts like it's trying to avoid disturbing your thoughts. Fuel economy stays in the high teens or low 20s, but efficiency isn't the LS mission, Serenity is. And Serenity is exactly what this car delivers. The moment you start driving, you feel the calm. The cabin is muted to the point where you hear your own breathing. The seats wrap around you like high-end furniture, and every control moves with the precision of a luxury watch. The suspension, especially on air-equipped models, irons out broken pavement like it's smoothing fabric. The best part? This comfort doesn't fade with time. Lexus build quality from this era borders on obsessive, and interiors age much slower than those from most competitors. Still, even a legend has a few weak spots. Air suspension parts can get pricey when they age. Early infotainment systems feel ancient, and some engines develop carbon buildup if maintenance wasn't followed. Inspection tip: check for any hesitation at cold start. Verify air suspension leveling after the car sits, and make sure every electronic system responds instantly. The best examples are mid-cycle updates owned by people who followed the manual religiously. Prices today are shockingly reasonable for what you get, often sitting below modern mid-size sedans, despite offering a level of refinement they can't touch. And if the LS impresses you with its calm, the next car goes in a totally different direction: elegance, personality, and a silhouette that still turns heads in any city. Few cars surprise people the way the 2010 Jaguar XJ does. You look at it expecting old-school British formality, and instead it hits you with a sleek, almost futuristic shape that still turns heads more than a decade later. This is the sedan for someone who wants luxury with personality, a bit of flair, and zero interest in blending into traffic. It feels lighter, sharper, and more playful than most full-size luxury cars, almost like it refuses to act its size. Engine choices range from the 3.0 supercharged V6 to the wild 5.0 supercharged V8, both paired with quick-shifting automatics that keep the car feeling eager. Fuel economy usually stays in the high teens or low 20s, depending on how much you enjoy the supercharger whine. The cabin is where the XJ really breaks expectations. Flowing lines, floating vents, leather everywhere, and a dashboard that feels more like a piece of art than a panel of buttons. The driving experience has a certain charm too, light on its feet, surprisingly agile, and always giving you the sense that the car was designed by people who love the idea of a big sedan that behaves like a smaller one. Of course, Jaguars come with their own fine print. Early infotainment systems can be slow, air suspension components may get tired, and door modules sometimes act like they need a nap. The supercharged VEI G8 models demand respect when it comes to cooling system care, and battery condition is more important than buyers expect. Inspection tip: check for suspension height changes after the car sits overnight. Make sure every door handle responds instantly, and listen for any chirping from the front at cold start. The safest bets are mid-cycle updates, ideally with documented dealership maintenance. Prices today are appealing because the XJ sits in that sweet spot where depreciation has slowed but desirability hasn't disappeared. And if that Jaguar stands out for its bold presence and fearless styling, the next car heads in a completely different direction: Italian lines, a distinctive temperament, and a reputation that's as controversial as it is irresistible. Every once in a while you meet a luxury car that feels less like transportation and more like a mood. The Maserati Quattroporte from this era is exactly that. It doesn't try to be sensible, it doesn't try to be quiet, and it definitely doesn't try to behave like the other sedans on the block. This is the choice for someone who wants elegance with fire underneath it, someone who'd rather feel something every time they turn the key instead of blending into a silent sea of predictable comfort. Power comes from Ferrari-derived engines, the 4.2 or the later 4.7 V8, both of which sound like they were tuned by opera singers with anger issues. Transmission options change the whole character. Early Duo Select single-clutch gearboxes are dramatic, sometimes too dramatic, while later automatics make the car far more livable day to day. Fuel economy sits in the low teens most of the time, but the sound alone makes you forgive everything. The interior is classic Italian luxury, soft leather, bold curves, and a design that feels more emotional than logical. Driving it is a trip. The steering is alive, the suspension is firm but expressive, and the whole car feels like it wants to be pushed even when you're just cruising. But the Quattroporte demands commitment. Early transmissions can get expensive if neglected, suspension bushings wear quickly, and electrical quirks appear whenever they feel like stealing attention. Cooling components and motor mounts also deserve inspection, especially on higher mileage cars. Tip: Listen for clunks during low-speed turns, check for hesitation when the gearbox warms up, and scan for any parasitic battery drain. The safest examples are later models with the ZF Automatic, and owners who treated the car like the high-maintenance Italian masterpiece it is. Prices today sit in a tempting zone, far lower than their original sticker, but you must buy with your brain, not just your heart. And if the Quattroporte brings passion and chaos in the most charming way possible, the next car goes in the opposite direction. Luxury in the early 2000s didn't get much more futuristic than Audi's A8, a sedan that looked calm on the outside but hid engineering that felt 10 years ahead of everyone else. This is the car for someone who loves subtle power, someone who doesn't need a badge to shout, but wants a machine that quietly dominates any road. Built on an aluminum space-frame chassis, the A8 feels light on its feet in a way full-size sedans normally don't, and that alone sets the tone for its entire personality. Engines range from the 3.7 V8 to the stronger 4.2 V8, each delivering smooth, confident power through the Tiptronic automatic transmission. Fuel economy usually stays in the high teens, but the reward is how effortlessly the A8 maintains speed, even on long highway stretches. Inside, the cabin mixes clean lines, precise aluminum trim, deep leather, and that signature Audi sense of order that always feels intentional. Nothing is exaggerated, nothing is loud, yet every detail has weight and purpose. On the road, Quattro all-wheel drive keeps the car planted, making the A8 feel secure in bad weather and controlled on fast curves. The ride is firm enough to feel connected but refined enough for daily comfort. Still, owning one requires awareness. Air suspension components can become expensive, and higher mileage V8 models may develop timing chain tensioner issues if maintenance wasn't strict. Electronics of this era also love testing patience when modules age. Inspection tip: listen for any chain rattle at cold start, check for adaptive suspension warnings, and feel for uneven ride height after the car sits overnight. Well-maintained examples are the safest path, especially ones with complete service history and regular fluid changes. Market prices today make the A8 one of the smartest sleeper luxury buys, offering flagship comfort for a fraction of what modern rivals demand. So if you've made it this far, you already know one thing. Real luxury isn't about screens or trends. It's about character, comfort, and the feeling a car gives you every time you turn the key. Whether you're into the calm giants, the sharp drivers, or the dramatic performers, one of these legends will fit your style. Now grab your phone, hit subscribe, and check out the next video on the channel. You're just getting started.